wondering about that. And any other possible categorical ones. Sorry.
So I will say that during the president's remaining weeks, and he said this in his statement overnight, and I said it at the top as well, that he's going to continue to talk to his team to review any steps that he's going to be
I can't wait till she
he
talks
wants to take
about
additional steps,
pardoning,
obviously, to provide meaningful second chances. This is what this is all about. When you look at the,
I hope they didn't already ask
actions
that.
that the
Peter,
president, not
did you
just
ask
took
that
today,
already?
but over
See if
certainly
Peter's
the
in the
last
room.
4 years. And so they're going to
Peter's
continue to
definitely in the
review
room.
clemency petitions, he and his team, in normal course.
Oh, they
and
just
certainly
started.
they
Here we
want
go.
to further
Yep.
the criminal justice
We're gonna hear it
reforms
right
in a
here,
manner
right
that
now.
advances equity and justice, promotes public safety, supports rehab and reentry, which is all the things that I said at the top, and provides, again, meaningful second chances. So when we have more to share, we certainly will update all of you. But I think if you look at what the president has done over the past 4 years, as I just laid out, granting, in addition to what we announced today, granting 21 pardons, 122 commutations, he has certainly done more than his last 4 predecessor at this point in their first term. And so the president takes this very, very seriously and is going to review all options, and especially, as you stated, clemency petitions as we, close out these final few weeks.
On pardons still.
Sure.
We had a poll yesterday that just about 2 in 10 Americans approved of President Biden's decision to pardon his son. In particular, they were troubled by the fact that he'd gone back on his word. So I wonder what the president's message is to those Americans.
I just go back to his statement that he put out 12 days ago, I think now, that Sunday. And I think that last paragraph really talks really, truly directly to the American people about this decision that he's made, obviously as president, as a father. But I would say more broadly, legal experts, you've heard me say this, you've heard from legal experts, specifically an analyst, former U.S. attorneys from across the country who have said, and they have all agreed, no one would be criminally prosecuted with felony offenses with these facts, the underlying facts that we have certainly have gone back and forth on. And I have quoted many times, and I'll do this again, the former Attorney General Eric Holder, who said no U.S. attorney would have charged this case given the underlying facts had his name been Joe Smith. The resolution would have been fundamentally and more fairly a declination.
No. Just because he's Hunter Biden.
And so I think
that's
the
why they
actions that the
charge
president
him.
took today,
No, he did them crimes.
Taken over the last 4 years when it comes to clemency, I think shows the president's commitment when it comes to reforming, trying to reform the criminal justice system, and his commitment to that, but also giving people a second chance. And so, I think that as it relates to
giving him a second
people,
chance.
That's
the truth.
I understand that you had this poll, and I get that, but I hope that they will understand the decision that he made, and what he's going to continue to do in these closing weeks as president.
Do you think he should apologize based on what the polling found?
What I think is, I think the president
he should apologize.
Hopes that the American people hear him out. Again, going to that last part of his statement,
needs to apologize
for
this.
That I should continue to reiterate that the American people out there should take a look at
and
the
you
president's
should apologize
own words,
too.
his statement, how much he wrestled with that decision, and how circumstances did indeed change for him in his view. And I quoted many times what Congressman Clyburn said when he spoke to the president 2 weeks prior, how the president was indeed reticent in making this decision. And when he saw that Republicans weren't going to let up, and we talked about the recently announced Trump appointees for law enforcement who have said themselves that they were going to seek retribution, and there was no reason to not take them by their word. The sentencing was coming up. All of these pieces,
the jury said guilty,
led to circumstances changing, and so he made a very difficult decision. And I just hope that in due time, the American people will see why he made this decision to move forward. In the meantime, I think this announcement, the statement from the president, this announcement today that we're making, nearly 1,500 people getting this their commutation I think it's important. I think it's important about second chances, giving people second chances.
Oh, so it's about second chances.
And so that's what the president certainly is going to continue to focus on.
Different than commuting a sentence, though, or pardoning someone who's been convicted of a crime. There was conversation at one point about the idea of preemptive pardons for someone who hasn't been convicted yet, but who might be a target of the incoming Trump administration. Is that still on the table?
I'm not going to get ahead of the president. As I said, we'll have more. The president will have more to announce over the upcoming weeks as we close out our time here. I'm not going to get into the president's thinking.
She doesn't want to talk about it.
He's going to have conversations with his team. He's going to review clemency petitions. He's going to review options on the table. And so that's where I'm going to leave it.
He's basically got quality immunity.
1,500 individuals, as you all know, who were placed on home confinement during the COVID-19 pandemic and who have successfully reintegrated into their families and communities, and also pardoning 39 individuals is a big deal. I think it's important to those individuals and their families and their communities.
Look, see how she just sidetracks from the question
into those
talking
really
about different
pieces
pardons
of their lives, and I think that's really important. And just building on what the president has done over the past 4 years.
They're going to still
and
ask
I
you,
think
ladies.
I think those are. Today, I think it's a good day for many of those folks who deserve that second chance and who have proven.
Yeah, second chance. You said this 4 times
to be able to take that on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some of the names that have been floated around preemptive pardon solutions, it would just be such an unusual, extraordinary step. We talked about in the news. We've seen Liz Cheney, Dr. Fauci.
You're talking about the preemptive pardoning.
Right. I understand you don't want to get ahead of the president's thinking, but are any of those names wrong or still? Can you tell? I mean, do you want to tell us anything about?
It would be a bad move on my behalf if I preempted the president or previewed anything that the president was thinking about, considering, and so this is something that he's going to talk with his team about.
You're going to jail.
And I just don't have anything
Guess what?
beyond that.
He's not going to jail because Hunter Biden's going to pardon him for crimes he hasn't done yet.
Justice system, as we talk about giving people who have shown that they can reintegrate into their community, back into their families, a second chance. I think that's a big deal, and I think that shows the president's commitment to this. And the president talks a lot about what this country has to offer and possibilities.
She's just filibustering.
You see that in every action.
This is a whole bunch of filibustering. What is she
when
talking
it comes
about?
to
She's
this
not
issue
answering
and
any
some of the
questions.
other, policies that he's put forward.
It's all filibuster.
So Karina, asking you this question, I'm going to ask it one more time.
She's going to start spurting at the end.
You have been working on an Islamophobia or a strategy to counter Islamophobia that would partner with the strategy that you've already released to countering anti-Semitism. We've been waiting for it for a long time. Do you have any further updates on when that could be released? Do you anticipate it coming before the end of the year?
I would say stay tuned. This is obviously something that we're very
she
committed
loves that word.
to,
Stay
when
tuned.
it comes to protecting
I'm
communities
out of here.
across this country.
And I don't have to answer anymore.
You saw that in our anti-Semitism strategy, and obviously we've been talking about this Islamophobia strategy as well, or talking about coming up with a way forward in protecting communities. Certainly, that's the president's commitment. I don't have anything to share right now at this moment at this podium behind this lectern, but I would.
At least she answered the question.
Given the former president's
she only answered questions she wants to answer. You know that?
For people from Muslim majority countries, also known as the Muslim ban, at the beginning of this term.
Which we repealed and dealt with that very early on.
I understand, but there were many people on no-fly lists, and there still are some people on no-fly lists. Is there any preemptive action that the administration can take to guard against that kind of, mass move again this time?
Well, you know where the president stands on this in this administration. I don't have any policy announcement to share with you at this time, and so I'll just leave it there.
Okay, and then just on the Pardons and Clemency Acts, numerous groups have sort of asked the administration to go even further.
She didn't expect her to ask this question.
Saying that there's something like 9,000 additional petitioners, some of whom are chronically ill, some who are aging, some have very young children. I know that you are still reviewing these things, but can you say something about the scale? I mean, is this the sort of is this the big move that we're going to see, and then we'll see sort of individual pardons coming forward, or will there, do you anticipate that there could be another larger scale move?
I'm not going to get into the strategy. I'm not going to get into numbers. I'm not going to get into what the president is currently thinking through. Not something that I'm going to do from here. But I don't want people to forget, and I said this at the top, and I just want to reiterate. We're talking about Americans who receiving relief, who are decorated military veterans, a nurse who has led response for a number of natural disasters, and an addiction counselor who volunteers his time to help young people. And that's just naming a few.
Yeah, those two might be good people, but everyone else
because these are the folks that we're talking about who are, again, reintegrating back into their communities in a way that's effective, in a way that's incredibly important, giving them second chances. And let's not forget all of
that is the
other
7 times she said second chance.
Has been able to give second chances to Americans over the past almost 4 years when he's made these types of important decisions.
She's going to say it over 10 times.
Preview. I'm not going to get ahead of this president. It would not be wise for me to do so because he has to make those final decisions, and he has to review what's in front of him.
Why does it matter? He said stuff that he changed his mind anyway.
On Saturday for the Sandy Hook shooting, and I know that this is something that's very near and dear to the president's heart. Is he planning any kind of action or statement?
So don't have anything for you. As you know, we think during his presidency, I think over the past couple of years, even before his presidency, he's spoken to this day, this tragic day. And you're right, this is, when it comes to Sandy Hook and any devastating
he doesn't talk about anything
horrific
like that.
Events like we saw on that day.
He doesn't even talk about important events like
the president has always spoken out to it.
I think he's going to talk about Sandy Hook. This is a president that understands loss, understands what that means to a family, understands what that means to a community, and Sandy Hook was one of those moments that tore us apart. Yeah, it did.
So
why isn't the president talking about it today?
I think if you are just a human.
Say a prayer for them kids.
Remember that day. It is a heartbreaking moment, and obviously our hearts go out to the families and.
But these people are evil.
Certainly, their loved ones who are still dealing with every year, dealing with a difficult moment, a difficult anniversary, and so I know the president thinks about them almost every day.
No,
and I don't have anything to read out to you on how we're going to be acknowledging
unless it's for ice cream.
But, I'm sure you'll be continue to hear from this president. Okay, Kim.
Thank you. You talk about the clemency actions as historic.
Keep at it. Keep asking that clemency
deal,
shit.
As you called them earlier, and the real relief that is being brought to
She's gonna start
individuals by the actions the president has taken. So, in terms of sequencing, how did he come to the decision to pardon his son before these individuals?
So I think we've gone back and forth on how he made that decision. The president obviously put, as I said, the president put a statement out 12 days ago, made that decision over that weekend. It was a decision that he wrestled with. I think we've talked about the politics around this, the decision that he made. He put out a pretty comprehensive statement. I've mentioned Congressman Clyburn's, his own words saying that the president, even 2 weeks before he had made that decision, was reticent in doing so. And he wrestled this. And as I've said many times, for him, there were consequences that changed his decision. I just laid that out moments ago.
With this action pending for thousands of individuals, why not bring the relief to them before?
I mean, and I was about to get to your question. This is what you see today. That was far from this being his first, right? I think we can't forget that. His first pardon or act of clemency. He has issued more. We cannot forget this, more sentence commutations at this point in his presidency.
He said he wasn't going to do it.
Recent predecessors at the same point of their first term.
He lied to the American people.
And so... And I talked about what he was able to do in April when he issued historic categorical pardons.
The grand jury said guilty.
Convictions and military convictions.
And he said he believes in law and the justice system. Joe Biden, no, you don't.
And again, today is historic, but he
You're a
has
fraud.
been taking these types of actions for some time now. This is far from the first pardon.
And she's going to get all this
We've gone
gaslighting
back and
because
forth. I've laid out
she's just
what
trying to
the
keep her
president's
job.
thinking. He has talked about it directly in a statement in
she's
his own
just-
voice
just as
to all
dumb
of
as
you
the
about
rest of
12
them.
days ago. And so I don't have anything beyond that. But we can't look at today as
mean,
being
you're losing your job
only
anyway.
the first action that he's taken. He's taken
Yeah, so she's just
many
one of them.
actions to try and deal with
If I was up there, I'd be telling the
giving
truth.
an opportunity to people
Losing your job
who
anyway.
have shown that they deserve a second chance.
she wants to
giving them
stay in the
opportunity
party.
to have that second chance.
Anita Dunn, who was for a very long time the senior most communications aide here at the White House, has been very critical of the president's decision to pardon his son. She called it extraordinarily bad timing. She said it was clear that the White House was not part of this process. And she called the president's
White House
rationale
didn't do
an
this.
attack on the judicial system. She goes, the argument is one that I think many observers are concerned about. A president who ran to restore the rule of law, who has upheld the rule of law, who has really defended the rule of law, kind of saying, well, maybe not right now. How would
Exactly.
you respond to that?
I will respond in this way. She also agreed that Hunter Biden, and I quote,
'cause he's
absolutely
famous.
deserved a pardon. Those
So he was
deserved a pardon
targeted.
is her own words. So she supported that action, and
He did not deserve
I
a
don't want
pardon.
to take away the record that the president has made on providing the most individual connotations
addiction shit,
in a
whatever.
single
But the
in a single
Ukraine
day, and I think
stuff
that
and
matters.
trying to
And
get a
he'll
gun
certainly
and
have
a
more news
laptop,
to
no.
share in this
They
in this
profited off
area, in
that.
the clemency space, obviously in the near future, and we'll have
And Joe
more to share
Biden, I
and
think,
certainly
is
more to
part of
speak
it.
to.
Was she right that
That's
the
why
White
he
House
did it.
boxed out of the process? and
What I
reaching
can
that
say
decision?
is that
His son probably was like, oh, you
obviously
don't pardon me,
continue to,
you might get
refer
involved
you
in
to
this
the president's
case.
statement 12 days ago. He laid out his thought process, I think, in a very comprehensive way. We've gone back and forth here about how the circumstances had changed, but let's not forget that she also said that Hunter Biden absolutely deserved a pardon, and I think that matters as well. Okay.
Thanks, Corinne.
Where's
What
Peter?
was President Biden's reaction to FBI
Peter's
Director
on the
Christopher
room.
Wray's decision to step down?
They didn't
What I
let
will
Peter in the
say
room.
is that the president
She wasn't expecting it.
certainly
else
appreciates
is
the service
asking
of
the
Christopher
questions
Wray, the
Peter's gonna
FBI
ask.
director, and all that he has done in his role. I don't have anything more to say beyond that. Certainly, he wishes the FBI director well.
Was the president disappointed that Wray is not going to be serving his full tenure term?
I don't have anything else to share besides the service that the FBI director has been able to provide.
She's
and he
gonna close
respects,
the questions, watch.
his service, and I don't have anything beyond that.
Has President Biden spoken to FBI Director Wray since the director made that announcement, or was the White House given a heads up about the decision?
I would say that I don't have anything to share of a conversation between the FBI director and the president since this
What do
decision
you have?
was made, but the president is grateful for
he's
the
grateful.
director's service to our country, and I just don't have anything else beyond that to share. Go ahead, Kelly.
Can you, given the
Surprising.
breadth of the pardons, can you describe a little bit about the president's process? Did he read into the individual cases? Did he accept a list from those who were working on this on his behalf? How much did he personally dive into particular stories? And did he decline
You
on
know
any
he
of the
didn't
ones
dive in
brought to him for
personally
this
into
time, or
any
was it
story.
sort of a big
He had his team
package
do it.
presented to the president?
So I'm not going to go into step by
Even
step
Trump
of
has
this
his team do most
process.
of
What
the
I can
stuff
say is this is a
besides talking.
president who certainly takes this very seriously, understands the importance of when an individual is able to show that they can reconnect with their community, reconnect with their family, be part of a community in a way that I just laid out. When you think about military veteran, we think about a nurse that's been very helpful in disaster response. He takes that all into account. He wants to make sure that that there are specific criteria that are made, if you will. In this case, the Bureau of Prisons obviously was very involved in looking at. When I say very involved, when they made the decision on the home confinement of these folks, and so obviously that is a big part of it too. And look. they've all just demonstrated good behavior, have shown that incarceration and at-home confinement has been successful in their rehabilitation, and those are all important criteria to look at. But this is something, obviously, his team reviews. It's presented to the president. He makes his decision on how to move forward. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty, but these are important facts that I just laid out to certainly look at when you think about getting back into the community and showing that it is meaningful to get that second chance because what these
second
individuals
chance,
have been able to do.
ninth time, we're going to beat our record. It's going to be over 10, guarantee it.
On the pardons today, can you say whether the president has signed all of the paperwork and it's completely finalized, the signature on it?
Well, my assumption is that this is ready to go since we made the announcement.
Yeah, down below in the comments, let me know how many times she said second chance.
And so this is
Right
ready
now,
to go
I
and
only
we're moving
counted 9.
forward. We wouldn't
I
have
think
made
there's
this announcement
more.
if we weren't. And so that's what I could speak to. This is something that the president
That's the
has
challenge
decided
for
on.
today.
And we're taking certainly the steps to make this happen.
And would you be able to say sort of precisely when he signed it? Or maybe
I don't have specifics on signature, when it was signed, how the process even works. I know that we just made an announcement, obviously, overnight on this really, this granted clemency of nearly 1,500 people. I think that's a big deal. 39 individuals were certainly pardoned, who were convicted of nonviolent crimes. And I think this is important to just not forget, but I don't have the specifics of the process or how it works. But obviously it's out there and we're moving forward with it.
And then one other thing, you had been asked several times about whether Hunter Biden would receive a pardon and responded to that question.
Yeah.
In that vein, can you tell me whether the president is considering a pardon for his son, James Biden?
Look, what I can speak to is the president made that decision, right, about Hunter Biden. He put it in his own words. I don't have anything to share beyond that. What I can say is not that I'm aware of, but I just don't have anything else beyond that. And the president certainly is going to, more broadly speaking, as we move forward to the next couple of weeks, he obviously is going to review with his team about other clemency decisions, and they're taking additional steps. And so that's what I can
So
speak
what crimes
to
did they do?
at this time.
What crimes did they do?
Thank you. During the past clemency actions,
Why did
we were
they need
talking
those?
about, it seemed like most of the time the recipients
Sounds
were
like Peter.
nonviolent, drug
He's not-
offenders,
Peter's not here,
low-level
though.
drug crimes.
Yeah, it's not Peter.
There were a couple recipients here, though. I mean, a judge who participated in a
Really?
scheme that sent juveniles to for-profit
There.
jails, Medicare
Where's Peter?
fraud, real estate fraud. I guess what I'm wondering is, was the crime that was committed also part of the criteria here? Or was it the mere fact where if you were somebody on home confinement, despite the crime you committed, but just the fact that you were on home confinement, you received
What's
a
up,
conviction?
So there are two different things, right? There's 1,500 folks
I'm
who
watching
were
this
placed on
press
home
briefing
confinement
first
during
before I do
COVID.
anything.
Oh,
1,500.
okay, I didn't know,
Yeah.
because those are commutation, right? So I didn't know.
Those
So
are commutations,
okay, so
right.
you were saying pardon, so I just wanted to make sure that.
To clarify,
Okay,
those examples
yes.
I listed are
Or
part of the 1,500
Okay,
that
okay,
received
because as you know, there were
commutation.
39 people who were pardoned. So two different things. I just want to make sure we were on the same page. So this is definitely related to the home confinement for COVID. Let's not forget there was the CARE Act of 2020, right? This is all connected certainly to that, and that's
So they
those
must
are the
have- yeah, they
individuals
must
who
have did some
were again,
crimes, yeah.
who had home confinement and they successfully reintegrated into their families, into their communities, and that's the group of people, that category, if you will, that we were looking at.
But
Yeah.
like if they, just the fact that they were on home confinement, they received a commutation here.
No.
Was
So
there-
that means
did you
they're still
factor
legal?
in any,
That's not
in
fair.
the process, do you also factor in the individual cases and the individual
Well, I think
crimes that
what's
were
important is that they were successfully able to reintegrate into their communities and back into their families, right? They showed that having a second chance is something
Second
that
chance.
they
10
should be
times
given,
she said
right?
that.
And so that is what's important.
So
that-
down in the
Let's not
comments-
forget that the successfully reintegrating, and I think that's a huge factor.
If
That
you guys
matters
can find
as
the
well.
mystery
the home confinement.
Let me know how many
obviously
times she says second
that's the
chance.
category that they were in during that CARE Act of 2020.
I counted 10.
As you know, there was a decision because of the COVID-19 pandemic to move forward back in 2020 before the president was obviously in office. And these folks, this 1,500 that we're talking about, the nearly 1,500, were able to successfully reintegrate. And I think that's a criteria that we can't forget, and that's a criteria that's incredibly important here as the president made his decision.
And to follow up on, I think, Kelly's question, just, I know you don't want to go step by step in the process, but can we say accurately that the president looked at any of these applications?
No, he didn't.
What I can say is
his
the president
team
made
did.
this decision. This is the president that made the
Yeah, he
decision
made
to move
it.
forward on this.
But he didn't look at
What
it.
was his involvement, though? Did they present him the application?
No,
I
I'm
mean,
saying
obviously the
just-
president was presented
just
from
signed
his
it.
team.
His team. She said it.
The granting the clemency, right, of these approximately 1,500 Americans and also the 39 that he pardoned. He was presented that by his team, and he made the decision. This would not have happened. We cannot forget, this would not have happened if the president didn't sign off on it, if the president didn't decide to move forward. And we can't forget what the president has done. We're talking about, let's not forget the past. Yes, we're talking about today, but we can't forget the president has also done 122 commutations, 21 pardons before this. We can't forget that the president
Who cares?
issued
It's not like he
categorical
said
pardons
he
for LGBTQ
wasn't
plus
gonna do
service
it.
members convicted
Yeah.
because of their sexual orientation.
Under
identity,
Biden, he said,
gender
"I am
identity,
not
individuals
going to
charged
pardon my
with
son.
Simply possession
I
of
will
marijuana."
not pardon my son.
And he just did that back in
Guess
April.
what he did? He
so the
pardoned
president
his
has
son.
certainly taken action.
That's why
to
we
show
care.
the importance of giving Americans second chances. And
Second
this
chance,
is a
11
continuation.
times.
This is not just a one-day thing. This is a continuation of the president taking clemency and giving people second chances very, very seriously, and
12.
understanding how much that means to families and certainly communities. Okay.
Has the
Probably
president
gonna be the
called
title
any
of the
the people
video.
he granted pardons to? Do you have anything to read out on that
No,
front?
it's a good question. I don't have anything to read out on the president calling any of the nearly 1,500 people or 39 folks that he was able to pardon today. I just don't have anything to share.
And is
Where's
he
Peter
planning
at,
a
man?
farewell address
Where's Peter when we
at some
need him?
point? Is there something in the works?
He needs to
You know,
ask
where
her
it
the
might
hard
be, when it might
questions.
be?
So I don't. We'll certainly have more to share. What the last couple of weeks, last couple of days of the president's administration would look like, if he's going to be giving any big speeches or giving any important
He gonna
remarks
give
as
one- he's gonna give
as
one more
he
speech,
ends
that's
his
it.
presidency. I don't
If
have anything
that.
right now in this moment, but I would say stay tuned.
Stay
We'll
tuned.
have
How
a
many
lot more
times
to
has she
share
said
as to
that? Let
what
me know in the
January
comments.
post-holiday will look like.
Stay tuned. Second chat.
Go ahead.
Second
Go ahead.
chance.
I know I was supposed to call you. I didn't.
Thank you. Back to Austin Tice.
Okay.
With
sure.
apologies.
No apologies. That's an important. No, it's important. No apologies.
So I believe it was last Friday when the family of Austin Tice said that they had spoken to officials here at the White House.
Yeah, they met with National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan at the end of last week. Yes.
And then they had a statement at the National Press Club where they said that they had been told from a reliable source, we assume Sullivan, that Austin was alive and that he was being treated well. So now we don't know any of that. So where did they get that information?
So look, I'm going to let the families speak for themselves. I can't even imagine what they're going through. I don't want to imagine what they're going through. I know this has been a difficult time for them. But what I can
You
say
still haven't
is
got
when
it?
it comes
Damn.
to Austin Tice, this is a top priority for this president. He said that himself. And there is no indication that he is not alive. But there's also no indication about his location or condition. And so what our goal is to bring him home. And so we hope certainly
bring
that
him
he is
home.
alive. And as we have stated many times before, we are talking through this with the Turks, and we want to do everything that we can.
Guess what? I
to bring
guarantee
him
when
home.
Trump is
It
in
a
office,
top priority for
he will be
this
home
president and this
in 1 week.
administration. And
Guaranteed.
that's how we're going to continue to move forward on this. All right, everybody.
Look, she wants to leave.
Meetings between now and the end of this?
Well, as you know,
She doesn't want
this
any more
administration,
questions.
including the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, has met with many family members of Americans who are wrongfully detained, held hostage. That is something, and also the president has
Trump
done
will
this as
handle
well. National Security Advisor, as I just mentioned, just met with Austin Tice's
He's
family
gotta
just
handle
this past
fucking
week.
4 years of
And so we're going to continue
bullshit
to
that we
certainly
had.
stay engaged and in touch. I don't have any meetings to preview for you
Wish
at
he
this
had more
time, but
time.
we've been pretty consistent in staying in touch with
He's
these
gonna have to work
families.
very
Again,
hard these 4 years for all the
our hearts go out
bullshit
to them.
this
Our hearts go out to them as they are
administration did
dealing,
to our
with an
country.
incredibly difficult time. All right, thanks everybody.
Look, she wants to leave. She's gone. She's out of here. Wow. What a fucking shit show. Alright, let me get this highlight real quick. You can send whatever now, bro. Yeah, that's not it. Is that my title?